I'm Andrew,
And I'm Brian.
and welcome to the Triad DECA podcast.
Hey guys, it's Eli Bryan here with Andrew O'Neill and Brian Ferguson with the Triad DECA podcast. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about our food donations for active duty service members.
All right, so what we did was we opened up a donation so that people can bring in perishable food items and like DVDs and stuff like that for the active duty servicemen. So Andrew, since you were in basic over summer and you could be active duty as of next year, what do you think this means? Because you have experience with this. What do you think it means for these ladies and gentlemen that are serving our country?
Well, for one, just receiving all these items from home, it really gives a sense they're back home instead of 2,000, 3,000 miles away from their families and just the culture we know. So just at basic, I mean, I'm nothing compared to active, obviously, but I went to Fort Benning, Georgia, and they pretty much everything we had was just given to us by the Army. They took all our personal items. We were able to keep I think the only thing I was able to keep were my running shoes, and everything else they just kind of confiscated. And they just gave me there's Army issue items. They gave me a bunch of clothes, the uniforms, the OCPs, and when I had to buy personal items, it was all from this it was called a post exchange, a PX, and it was just really basic necessity items. And it's that's all we really had access to. That's all we're allowed to purchase. But however, our parents were allowed to send friends and family were allowed to send us stuff through the mail. So when mail call came around, I got a lot of books. I got one of the favorite things I got was actually luxury toilet paper from my parents, because one of my biggest complaints was the scratchy toilet paper. So as stupid as it sounds, just receiving something from home just meant so much to me. So.
Well, that's good to hear that we are doing something great, with our DECA program here.
So why'd you do this? How does it tie to DECA?
So we did this because we had to have a community service project so that way we could get extra kids in the Nationals. So Nationals for DECA this year is in Nashville, and so far 4 of us is going and more to come. But with this, we are able to bring some kids and so that they can do leadership conferences and workshops. That way they can, work on themselves and be better, prepare them for life, but they also get the chance to have the DECA experience at Nationals, which is a lot of fun for me too, going to Nationals versus going alone. It would be a lot of fun by myself too, but now that there's already 3 other people going, it makes it that much more fun, and that now that we have the potential for 2 extras, makes it even more fun. And just more people that goes, makes it more fun and makes it a better memory. All right, this concludes our first part of the podcast. Our next part of the podcast will get an outside student from DECA to be interviewed. Thanks for coming out, Andrew, and we'll be right back.
Thanks for inviting me.
All right, welcome back to our second part of the podcast. I have Danny Lake here, and so Danny, this is you're kind of outside of DECA a lot, but it's your first year. What do you think as far as, because you've also been in business before, how do you think DECA has been from, was it your sophomore year you took this class?
Sophomore year, yep.
So how has it changed for you as far as from outside in?
I've noticed, since my sophomore year, we weren't as big of a chapter as we are now. Being the bigger chapter we are now, you can definitely see we're more goal-oriented on the competition side of things. We have a bit of a better grasp on what to do, and we really are out there, kicking butt, taking names, and you can see it. You can see the energy in all the classes on people being excited to sit down and, talk to Mr. Martin and enjoy his class and understand the materials that are being brought to them. And you can really see the almost team, it's like a team in every class. Because I'm in 2 of his classes every day, and you can see that the classes really are a team. And I think that's one of the good things about his class is that it is, we work with each other to get ahead because we want to be the best at what we're doing.
All right, so I know you're the president of AG, and being in DECA too, what do you see as far as differences and similarities between the two because they're two completely, not necessarily completely different clubs, but one is around farming. I'm not even familiar with FFA, and then the other is business oriented.
Yeah, so the some of the differences obviously is ag is more like livestock and stuff like that oriented. It's more of a day to day type thing, something you do every day. But DECA is more the business side. It's running numbers, accounting, your cost and your cost of your materials, stuff like that, shipping. They're different but they're similar because you still have that base of you have your officers and teams and stuff, and you have your competitions and they're very similar, and I think that's why I like both classes. Is because you can get a good, perspective of both views. Being because like I know some people see DECA as more like the city type class, and then
Yeah.
people see ag as the yeehaw country kid class. And being in both classes, I see a good perspective of both of it, and I like it because I like how you can go into DECA and you can sit there and you can talk, cost analysis, and you can talk about, this is the shipping and these is the process that we have to use to manufacture this good to get it from point A to point B. And then you can go to ag and see, this is, we're growing this material so the person in DECA can manufacture that item. And we're just seeing both sides of the world, I guess, sort of, because it gives you that a perspective from both views. And I really like it. I enjoy both of the classes. DECA this year, honestly, is more fun than it was my sophomore year because I think now that we as a class have more confidence in ourselves because we've gone to Eli Carson, I think it was last year, went to the national competitions down or in Atlanta, I think it was.
Orlando.
Orlando, there we go. And he did as well as he did, and seeing Clinton Driscoll do well in his classes and stuff and his competitions, that was it's very inspiring almost because you see that and you go, well, that's just a normal kid like me. Well, I can do that. So then you go out there and you go to your class and you see, this is what I got to do to be like them, to get to that stage, to be up there holding that trophy. And I think it's just something that's it's almost inspiring because you can do it just because a kid from your small school did it too. And I think it's very, awesome that we've been able to accomplish that.
All right, so what do you benefit more from FFA than DECA, and what do you benefit more from DECA than FFA? Is kind of because they're like we said, two different things.
Well, I'd say with ag, there's a lot of it's a lot more competitions, but I think those ones are more like obviously based towards the agriculture side of things. So you're getting that more everyday hands-on, oh, I've learned how to judge cattle. So now if I start my own cattle farm, I can go out there and select, this stud is going to be better than this stud because he has these factors that make him, more sound in body and everything else. Whereas, DECA has the, accounting and stuff like that and those competitions and the virtual online business challenge and stuff like that. And I think with those, that gives you also, real life experience. If I can learn how to budget and how to, plan out how much I should actually be spending with my living expenses and stuff and what I really need versus what I don't need. And I think they both give you that good real life experience that a lot of classes in school can't. Because, I love like all those art classes and stuff, but you're not going to go out there and be a world famous painter. Whereas, DECA and AG, they both offer you things you can actually use. And I think that's why more schools should have, more of an outreach with it. I think there should be more advertising, so to say, with these classes and saying, hey guys, you should take this class because the knowledge you'll obtain from DECA is something you can take with you and go on with your life because I know I've used some of my like the online business class. I've used some of that in even my job working at a Rural King store because we've talked about I've helped them with their Facebook page and Instagram page and stuff and what they should and shouldn't be doing, and that's helped me look better to my boss. So I think they're both really good classes and have a lot of differences and a lot of similarities. And I think you can get really great things from both of the classes. I think you get leadership from DECA and from AG. I think you get, that knowledge of business and everything from DECA. And I think you get just great things from both classes. And I wish more kids would take them and realize how good of classes they are.
All right, well, that wraps up our second half of this podcast. Tune in next week. We'll have our DECA Christmas theme. Thanks for listening, and thanks for coming out, Danny.
Thanks for having me, Brian. Really appreciate it.